You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and category leaders from Tuesday, April the 28th, 2020. Starting with this American League matchup, the Kansas City Royals continue to ride a losing streak as the Baltimore Orioles win this one 1-0. Despite getting more hits than the Orioles, the Royals failed to score any runs. The Royals got their run in the bottom of the fourth inning. Cole Stewart now is 3-1 on the season. Mike Montgomery 1-2 as a starter in the Royals rotation, and Michael Givens has reached 10 saves this season. The Detroit Tigers have stopped their losing streak. They won a game, this one against the Yankees. Final score 5-2. Ivan Nova got his first win of the season against his former team. Adam Ottavino 1-1 after losing out of the bullpen in this game. And Joe Jimenez, he now has 6 saves on the season. The Rays and Indians played each other, and the Indians won by a score of 9-1 in this one. 5 runs in the fourth, 4 runs in the eighth, tallied their 9 total runs. The Rays could only score in the sixth. Carlos Carrasco got the win. He's 3-1. Brendan McKay is now 1-1 since joining the Major League club. Brendan McKay is still in the rotation because Blake Snell is on the injured list. AL West baseball, this game between the Oakland Athletics and the Texas Rangers. And the Rangers were able to win this one by a run, walking it off in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Athletics came back to tie it at 5 in the top of the 9th, but then the Rangers walked it off. Jose Leclerc 1-1 now on the season. Paul Blackburn is 2-1 out of the bullpen. He got issued his first loss. More AL West specific baseball. The Los Angeles Angels beat the Seattle Mariners by a score of 5-3. Dylan Bundy still undefeated since joining the Angels. He's 4-0 this season. Marco Gonzalez is 2-4 now after this loss. And Robles now with 7 saves on the season as the Angels closer. AL East baseball and an offensive fest. 14-12 is the final score. The Red Sox scored 14 runs on 19 hits, and even more miraculously, in only getting 10 hits, the Blue Jays managed to score 12 runs. Josh Taylor got the win. Justin Miller got the loss. This game went to 10 innings, and it's just a magnificent game. Moving to the National League East, the New York Mets beat the Miami Marlins by a score of 6-5, and this does not help the Marlins keep pace in the NL East because the Nationals won their game today, and you'll see that later in standings how that affects the Marlins. The Pirates and Cubs played each other in an NL Central game. This one was won by the Pirates 2-1, and the Pirates now massing together a winning streak after losing 11 straight previous to this series. They've won their second straight now against the Cubs. Nevarakis got the win. Kyle Ryan got the loss. Keone Kellen now with 8 saves as the Pirates closer this season. The Braves and Reds played each other, and the Reds were able to come out with a win again in Game 2 of this series. This game took 10 innings to complete, and the Braves had the lead going into the 9th, but the Reds tied it in the bottom of the 9th and won it in the bottom of the 10th. Each team had 7 hits, but the Reds scored 1 more run than the Braves did. The White Sox and Rockies played each other. This is an interleague game. Each of these teams had 10 hits, but the Rockies were able to score 3 more runs than the White Sox did and come out with a win. The Rockies now on a small winning streak after starting the year off in a poor manner, but they're succeeding now toward the end of April. John Gray got his first win of the season. Michael Kopech now with 2 losses, and Wade Davis has 4 saves. More interleague baseball. The Houston Astros beat the Arizona Diamondbacks by a score of 11-5, and this was another game that displayed heavy amounts of offense. The Astros, 11 runs on 14 hits, and the Diamondbacks, despite getting 15 team hits, only scored 5 runs. Brad Peacock got the win. He's 3-2, and Luke Weaver yet to win a game. He is 0-4 now on the season with the Diamondbacks. One of our games of the day here on Major League Baseball's virtual network, the Washington Nationals beat the Milwaukee Brewers by a score of 4-2. Tanner Rainey got the win. Bruce Sutter got the loss. Sean Doolittle now has 11 saves on the year, and you'll see coming up in our category leaders segment that Doolittle is now second on the list among National League relief pitchers. Interleague baseball here, this one between the Twins and the Dodgers. Julio Urias got the win. He's 2-1 now, and Michael Pineda is now 1-2 after losing on the mound with the Twins. The Cardinals and Padres played each other, and the Padres seem like they cannot be stopped They're one of the only teams left in baseball with single digits in the loss column, and they beat a team that is respectable in the National League in the Cardinals today. Again, final score 4-1. Zach Davies got the win. Daniel Ponce de Leon now 2-2, and Kirby Yates is tied for one of the top spots in the National League with 11 saves. And the Philadelphia Phillies beat the San Francisco Giants again, this one by a score of 4-3. The Giants scored all three of their runs in the bottom of the fourth inning, and meanwhile, the Phillies distributed it in 2 innings, 2 in the third, 2 in the sixth, and were able to win. Zach Eflin got the win, Jimenez, he got the loss, and Hector Neris now has 8 saves as the Phillies closer. Let's take a look at standings now. We'll start in the American League East. The New York Yankees still lead this division, but though they're on a 2-game losing streak after losing to the Tigers today, they're 19-11 now. The Rays, 1.5 games back, 18-13 is their record. The Orioles also a game and a half back of this division lead, 17-12 is their record, and they're on a 3-game winning streak, most recently beating the Royals. The Toronto Blue Jays on a 3-game losing streak now after losing to the Red Sox most recently, and they are 14-16. And the Red Sox, who have won the first 2 games against the Blue Jays in the series that they're both in, are now 11-21, and they're 9 games back of this division. In the American League Central, the Chicago White Sox still lead this division. 19-11 is their record. The Twins, 2 games back of the division. After losing today, they are 17-13. The Indians won today. They're 17-15, 3 games back of the division now. The Kansas City Royals have now lost their last 10 games. They're 9.5 back, and they're still in single digits in the win column. 9 wins, 20 losses. And the Detroit Tigers won today, but they're doing worse than the Royals are. 7-22 is their record, and they're 11.5 games back of this division. To the American League West, the Houston Astros are 16-13. They lead this division still. The Athletics, who lost today, fall further back in the standings. They're a game back now with a 16-15 record. The Texas Rangers won today. They're 14-15, 2 games back of the division. The Angels won today against the Mariners. They're 13-16, 3 games back of the division. And the Mariners have now taken sole possession of last place in this division after losing to the Angels today. They're 13-18, 4 games back of the division. Moving to the National League East, the Nationals, who won today, are 18-10. They're on a 4-game winning streak now, and they lead this division. The Miami Marlins lost today. They're on a 3-game losing streak now, and with the Nationals win, they fall further back in this division. They're 1.5 games back. 17-12 again is their record. The Phillies are 15-5 after winning today. They are 4 games back in the division. They've won 5 of their last 10. The Atlanta Braves are 15-7, 5 games back in the division. They've lost their last 3 games. And the New York Mets are on a 2-game winning streak. Though they've lost 7 of their last 10, they're 11-18, 7.5 games back of this division. To the National League Central, the Milwaukee Brewers on a 4-game losing streak now after losing to the Nationals today. They're 17-12. Fortunately for them, though, the other top teams in the NL Central are on losing streaks as well. The Cubs have lost 3 straight, most recently losing 2 to the Pirates. They're still 1.5 games back of this division with a 16-14 record. The Cardinals have lost 2 straight now as well, most recently to the Padres. They are 3.5 games back. 14-16 is their record. The Cincinnati Reds are 12-17, though they've won their last 2 games. They've won 5 of their last 10. And they're 5 games back of the division. And the Pittsburgh Pirates, who snapped an 11-game losing streak against the Cubs to start this series, have now won 2 straight against the Cubs. They're 11-19, 6.5 games back of this division. Moving to the National League West, the San Diego Padres. Seems like they can't be stopped. They're 21-8 now after beating the Cardinals today. They're on a 5-game winning streak. They've won 6 of their last 10, and they have led this division for the majority of the year. The Los Angeles Dodgers, however, are also a hot team, and right now are hotter than the Padres. They've won 10 straight. They beat the Twins today. They're 19-10, 2 games back of this division still. And these two keeping pace with each other. The other 3 teams have slacked off a bit in some portion of this month of April. The San Francisco Giants are 16-14. They're 5.5 games back after losing today. The Diamondbacks also lost today. They're 13-16 now, and they're 8 games back of this division. The Colorado Rockies are on a hot streak right now, but they started off the year rough. So they are 11-17, 9.5 games back still of the division, but they've won 9 of their last 10 games. And now it's time for category leaders in both the American and National Leagues. Starting with batting average, Jose Abreu .403 batting average. He had a good game today. He pushed his average above 400 now, and the only player in baseball with over a 400 average. Chris Davis, second best in the American League with a .375 batting average, and Michael Chavis and Mike Trout each tied for third with a .374 average. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr., who had a hot start to April, has slowed down in the series against the Reds that the Braves are in right now. He still leads the National League in batting average, though, with a .384 batting average. Nolan Arenado batting .380 this year, second best in the National League, and David Dahl still remaining with a .363 batting average because he's on the injured list, though he still qualifies for a spot on the batting average list. Hit leaders in the American League. Jose Abreu has 52 now, the only player in the American League above 50 hits on the season. The next best is DJ LeMahieu, who has 46. In the National League, Jonathan Villar, 44, Ronald Acuna Jr., 43, and Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt each with 41. No other National League position player has over 40 hits. American League at-bat leaders, J.D. Martinez still tops this list. He has 132 at-bats. In the National League, Ozzie Albies with 129 leads the National League, and the list descends from there. Doubles, the leaders in doubles in the American League, Rafael Devers and Jose Abreu each have 12 now. They've passed the leader previously in Jose Iglesias, who had 11. It was at the top a couple days ago. Miguel Andujar also has 11, ties him for third best in the American League. National League doubles leaders, it's still Jonathan Villar, who has 15. Ketel Marte still in second with 12. Christian Yelich, Robinson Cano, and Juan Soto each tied with 11, tied for third best in the National League. Triples leaders, Jose Altuve still leads this list with 4 triples. Oscar Mercado and Whit Merrifield still each have 3 triples. And in the National League, triples leader is Jonathan Villar. He has 4. Asdrubal Cabrera, Andrew McCutchen, and Hunter Pence each have 3. Tied for second best on this list of National League players. And home run leaders in the American League, Chris Davis with 15, Matt Olson, his teammate, has 12, and then Jose Abreu and Austin Meadows, along with Yohan Moncada, Mike Trout, and Eloy Jimenez have each reached 11. And you have Josh Donaldson, Renato Nunez, and Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and DJ LeMahieu each with 10, and no other American League player has 10 or more. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. still leads this category. He has 11 home runs. No other National League player has reached double digits yet this season. RBI leaders in the American League, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has 33. He leads the American League. Jose Abreu, Chris Davis, each tied with 32. Then Mike Trout, Austin Meadows, Eloy Jimenez, and DJ LeMahieu each all have 30. No other American League player has 30 or more yet. In the National League, RBI leader is Paul Goldschmidt. Cody Bellinger in second with 27, and Nolan Arenado has 26. No National League player has reached 30 RBIs or more yet. American League runs scored. Jose Abreu leads this category with 29. His teammate Yohan Moncada right behind him with 28. Then Rafael Devers, Matt Olson, Chris Davis, Miguel Andujar are tied for third best in the league with 25. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. leads with 29. Paul Goldschmidt has 24, and Corey Seager has 23. Those are the top 3 best in the National League for runs scored. American League stolen bases. Adalberto Mondesi still leads this category. He has 8, and then Malik Smith and D. Gordon right behind him, each with 6. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 9 stolen bases, though he's been caught by somebody else now. Starling Marte also tops this list, and he is tied with 9 stolen bases. Trey Turner has 8, and nobody else has 8 or more yet in the National League. American League walk leaders, Mike Trout now tops this list with 21. George Springer settles for a definitive second place. He has 20, and no other batter in the American League has 20 or more walks on the season. Rhys Hoskins has 24, and he's the only one that has passed 20 in bases on balls so far this year. On base percentage, Mike Trout, 483 on base percentage. Alex Bregman, 443, and DJ LeMahieu, 440. National League leaders, Ronald Acuna Jr., 466 on base percentage. Nolan Arenado, 442, and Paul Goldschmidt, 440. Slugging percentage, the leaders in the American League, Chris Davis, an .817 slugging percentage puts him at the top of the American League. Mike Trout has an .808 slugging percentage, and nobody else in the American League has an .800 or above slugging percentage. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has fallen below .800 now, but he still leads the league with with a .795 slugging percentage. Nolan Arenado has a .722 slugging percentage, and nobody else in the National League passes a .700 slugging percentage. OPS, on-base percentage plus slugging percentage. American League leaders: Mike Trout in first, Chris Davis in second, Jose Abreu in third. National League leaders see Ronald Acuna Jr. topping this list as well, 1.260 on-base plus slugging percentage. Nolan Arenado, 1.164, and Paul Goldschmidt, 1.121 OPS. Now for pitcher statistics. Wins among American League pitchers. The lead still belongs to Asher Wojciechowski and Jalen Beeks. They each have 5. In the National League, Dinelson Lamet and Walker Buehler still lead this category with 5. Losses. This just determines who has the least amount of losses among pitchers, and there are several players in the American League still undefeated in their decisions on the mound. In the National League, it's less, but still a significant amount of players who haven't lost a game yet this season. Save leaders among American League pitchers. Brad Hand definitively in first place, and he leads all of baseball with 13 saves. Michael Givens, Matt McGill, and Nick Anderson each have 10, and nobody else in the American League has reached double-digit saves yet. In the National League, Josh Hader leads with 12. Sean Doolittle earned a save today, as well as Kirby Yates did. They're each tied for second now with 11 saves, and Craig Kimbrell, the only other double-digit save achiever so far this season, he has 10. American League earned run average leaders. Masahiro Tanaka still tops this list with a 1.63 ERA. Brad Peacock in second with a 2.23 ERA, and Tyler Glasnow with a 2.36 ERA. Remember, he got traded to the Angels, and he's been supporting their rotation heavily so far since his presence with the team. Earned run average among National League pitcher leaders. Walker Buehler, 1.03 ERA. Trevor Bauer, 1.10. Mike Soroka, 1.49. And Caleb Smith, 1.85. Those are all the pitchers who have an ERA of less than 2 in the National League. Home runs allowed. Jonathan Loaiza has 1, and nobody else has let up less than that. And he leads the league with that. There are several players with 2, 3, and 4 moving forward. National League home runs allowed leaders see 4 top the list, each giving up just 1 home run on the season. Robbie Ray, Caleb Smith, Trevor Bauer, and Garrett Richards. Shutouts among American League pitchers. Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka still top this list. They have pitched 2 shutouts this season. And then there's a stack of pitchers in the American League who each have 1 shutout. In the National League, Walker Buehler still leads this category. He has 2 shutouts, and then Zach Price, David Price, Jacob deGrom, and Pablo Lopez, each with 1 shutout this season. Strikeout leaders among American League pitchers. Carlos Carrasco passed Garrett Cole. He has 52 strikeouts now. Garrett Cole with 51. Lucas Giolito with 50, and no other pitcher has 50 or more yet this season. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw still leads this list. He has 53 strikeouts this season. Chris Archer with 50, and no other pitcher in the National League has 50 or more strikeouts so far this season. Complete games among American League pitchers. Garrett Cole threw 2 complete games, as did Masahiro Tanaka. Everybody else you see on this list threw 1. National League complete games. Walker Buehler has pitched 2 complete games this season. He leads the list. Everybody else you see on your screen has pitched 1 complete game this season. Innings pitched leaders among American League pitchers. Carlos Carrasco leads this list by 1/3 of an inning, beating out his teammate Shane Bieber for the lead among American League pitchers. National League pitchers see Walker Buehler and Johnny Cueto holding the most load right now. They each have pitched 53 2/3 innings this season so far. Walks allowed among American League pitchers. Carlos Carrasco, 5 walks allowed this season. Everybody else has more. In the National League, Madison Bumgarner still has just walked 3 batters all season. The next best is Rick Porcello, who walked 7 so far this season. Whip leaders in the American League. Carlos Carrasco, .92 whip. Masahiro Tanaka close second, .93, and Zach Plesac with a .98. Everybody else has 1 or more. National League whip leaders, .82 for Walker Buehler, who leads this category, Mike Soroka, .94, and Pablo Lopez, .97. Everybody else has one or more. Pitching wins above replacement leaders. There are 5 pitchers who have one or more in the WAR category. Carlos Carrasco and Chase Anderson, 1.2. Charlie Morton and Garrett Cole, 1.1. And Eduardo Rodriguez has a 1 even, although there's some smaller numbers past that decimal, I'm certain. And in the National League, Walker Buehler, 1.3. Robbie Ray, 1.2 with Yu Darvish. Chris Archer and Caleb Smith, 1.1. And then Trevor Bauer, Steven Strasburg, and Mike Soroka, each with 1. Everybody else less than 1 for wins above replacement among National League pitchers. Batting war in the American League, Mike Trout tops this category with a 2.7. Yohan Moncada, 2.4. Chris Davis, 2.2, along with DJ LeMahieu and Alex Bregman, 2.1. Nobody else passes 2 on this list. And in the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. still tops this category, although his WAR is going down. 3 even now is his WAR. Nobody else in the National League has 3 or above, but a couple have a WAR of 2 among position players. Nolan Arenado, 2.4, and Jonathan Villar, 2 even. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and category leaders from Tuesday, April the 28th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's virtual network.